I'm just off on another one of my adventures, and on this video we're going to Namibia in southwest Africa. We're just travelling on the M1 now, making our way to Heathrow Airport. Ahead of us we've got a 5,000 mile journey across the African continent, and we'll end up at Walvis Bay in Namibia probably in about 18 hours time. Our target species while we're out there is the bronze whaler shark. Typically these fish grow to over there up to about 400 pounds. We can expect to catch fish up to 200, and these fish are real tough customers. They fight really hard, and hopefully while we're there we're going to get some good footage.
In January 2005, I returned to the Skeleton Coast in Namibia to once again do battle with one of the hardest fighting sharks there is, the bronze whaler shark. Namibia is located in southwest Africa and borders Botswana, Zambia, Angola and South Africa in the south. Namibia boasts some of Africa's most spectacular scenery, which is home to some of the region's most stunning wildlife. My previous and first fishing trip to Namibia was in February 2004, where some epic battles were experienced, and I landed fish to about 100 kilos, some 220 pounds in weight. On this occasion I was travelling with fellow fishing companion Dave McIntyre of Coventry, and we were also joined by Andrew Gage of Suffolk and Richard Scarce of Devon, and a group of 4 anglers from Somerset. Our fishing holiday in Namibia was to last for 2 weeks, and we were all expecting to land some big sharks whilst we were here on the Skeleton Coast, one of the world's loneliest and most prolific surf fishing locations. After a 5-hour road transfer through bushland and arid desert scenery, we finally arrived at the Courtyard Hotel in Walvis Bay, our final destination and our base camp for the next 14 days. arrival we were met by Steve Maguire, the frontman of Mola Mola UK, who had arranged and managed our shark fishing safari. After some much needed refreshments at the hotel bar, we all talked about the fantastic fishing we had ahead of us. And by 8 PM the hotel put on an excellent barbecue style meal, and we were all at this stage hungry and ready to eat. So now that the scene is set, let's take a closer look at our target species. The bronze whaler shark, or copper shark as it is also known, has a worldwide distribution and is common in the Atlantic, Pacific and Indian Oceans, in tropical, subtropical and temperate climates. In Africa, it is common along the shores of South Africa and the western coast of Namibia, where it typically grows up to about 180 kilos, some 400 pounds in weight. Potentially, the bronze whaler shark can reach a length of 3.25 metres and weigh as much as 300 kilos, some 675 pounds in weight. And certainly specimens in Australian waters have been caught up to 500 pounds plus in weight. The bronze whaler shark is a member of the Carcharodonus shark family and is closely related to its much greater big brother, the great white shark. The great white is feared worldwide for its aggressive feeding behaviour and its track record for attacking humans. The bronze whaler shark, however, is a less aggressive member of the family, although it has been known to attack humans in the past.
Okay, we arrived at the Courtyard Hotel yesterday on Sunday afternoon. It's now Monday morning. We're off to do a day's fishing. Weather's quite overcast, cloudy. Typical Skeleton Coast weather, really. We're just off to Swakopmund to get some licences, and I assume we'll be fishing north of somewhere north of Swakopmund.
We arrived on the beach at a location north of Swakopmund at 10 AM. The morning's fishing involved targeting the smaller species, such as gully sharks and sand sharks and rays, with the idea being that we would use the smaller species as bait to catch the much bigger bronze whaler sharks. After all the rods were cast out, the waiting began. But it was not long before the feeding fish found our mullet hook baits, and we were soon catching gully sharks and rays up to 25 pounds in weight. And these fish were the perfect size for catching big, mean, hungry bronze whaler sharks.
Yeah, we thought it's all go here. We've had three fish on at once, so there it is. More bait for today.
With the bait fish caught, we moved on to another location further down the beach, where hopefully we would be hooking into some big, hard-fighting bronzies. Our guide carefully prepared our baits to target the bronzies, which consisted of the gills of a large blue ray. The gills are the part of the body that contain the most blood and are very effective shark baits, which give off a powerful and lasting scent trail which the bronze whaler sharks like to home in on. As you can see here, the chunks of bait are bound together with dacron so that they can be mounted on the hook more effectively. The terminal tackle consists of two 12-0 hooks, a wire trace and a gripper lead. A converted boat reel loaded with 500 metres of 40-pound line and a one-piece custom-built beach rod completes the setup, and within a few minutes we are ready to catch big bronzies. After 1 hour of inactivity, we moved further south to join the 4 lads from Somerset, and we discovered 2 of them well and truly hooked into big sharks. In no time at all after casting out, I hooked into my first bronzie of the trip, which stripped 400 yards of line from my reel on its first run. Playing a big bronze whaler shark is quite an exhilarating experience, and for the first time on this trip I was well and truly hooked into a big fish.
He's hooked into a big fish, it's about 12:30. We've got to move location. There's been 3 or 4 fish hooked up in the last hour or so. One of 140 pounds to one of the other guys. There's 2 guys with a hook up at the same time. The chap just to the back and left, the bandy, has had these fish on for at least an hour. And you can just see, also at the back of Andy, we've got a bait trail. We're there. Just take it under.
It's fighting really hard. Starting to come in now though. Gaining line on it now. Probably stripped off about 400 metres of line, 400 yards maybe, on its first run. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. This might be 100 kilo fish, you know.
This one?
Fighting like one.
That one's 115 kilos, the one behind you. Absolute feature of it.
Beast, isn't it?
Beast, yeah.
After a long hard fight, I finally had the big fish beaten, and after 1 hour and 30 minutes of serious pulling, my big shark was finally landed.
There's my fish. I reckon this is well over 200 pounds. It's absolutely huge. Terence is measuring it for me. I know this is the biggest fish I've ever caught. My previous best shark from here is 115 kilos. I think this has got to be bigger. 120 kilos. So we're looking at 260 pounds, 270 pounds. Oh, absolutely incredible. This fish has literally beaten the life out of me. Sweating all over, I'm shaking. Fantastic.
2 meters 7 centimeters on the tank.
2 meters 7 centimeters. It's a huge fish. Huge fish.
Total length 2 meters 79.
Total length 2 meters 79. The most absolutely incredible fight. Again, I've had the biggest fish I've ever caught from this place. 260 pounds. Absolutely awesome.
You want to get round to the front end?
It's over 2 foot wide. Over 2 foot wide. 260 pound shark. And playing that on beach gear. Absolutely awesome. Let's all go here. Richard's just about to land a fish now. He's had this fish on for about half an hour. I've just landed my 120 kilo fish, whatever that was, 72 pounds. Big boat, big bloody thing. This fish has just been beached.
Richard's bronzy turned out to be a fish of approximately 80 kilos, about 170 pounds in weight. And it was good to see that he was off the mark with his very first Skeleton Coast shark. Here on the left you can see Richard's 170 pound bronzy. Also on the right you can see another much smaller shark of about 80 pounds caught by one of the Somerset lads. In total, there were 4 sharks caught between 8 of us throughout the afternoon, including the 2 big 100 kilo plus bronzies. The shark was carefully returned to fight another day, and by 5 PM we packed up and made our way back to the Courtyard Hotel in Walvis Bay. And once again the Skeleton Coast had given us another wonderful and productive day's shark fishing.
some of the tactics you'll be using in terms of terminal gear and such like?
We'll be using the normal 14-foot graphite rods with the smaller reels on, up to the Daiwa SL50. 35-40 pound breaking strain line with a shock leader of about 60 to 80 pounds, and with a double hook. Bait we'll be using will be mullet heads and mullet cutlets. Gully sharks favour them. And being low tide, we'll go out on some of the rocks to get into the deeper gullies at the back. Depending on the colour of water will determine if I put a bit of flotation in. Normally if the water's clear, I would put a bit of float in the bait. If it's murky, it's not necessary. And the hooks will be from a 6.0 to a 7.0, an 8-ounce sinker. And basically on that we'll be able to catch smooth hounds, gully sharks, sand sharks, some of the ray species, and a cob might even take it. And then once we've had a couple of those, from about 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock onwards, we will pick a spot. The tide will be pushing well then. There's some deeper wateries. Put some chum in the water and then change over to the bronzy tackle, which will be the bigger reels. We normally use a Daiwa 400 or 450, bigger line capacity. Also 40 pound line, which might be a bit thick in diameter, about 0.60, and use about a 1mm leader with a bit of steel, nylon coated steel on the end, 2 9.0 hooks, and an 8-ounce gripper lead. The bait will be about a fist size, say about pound of bait. A mixture of either mackerel heads, mackerel fillets, some sand shark, maybe some gully shark with liver, and you can cast that out. The bait can stay in the water quite a long time because not any of the small fish will pick it up. And then we'll wait and sit it out and see. If nothing happens, we'll move off and look for another spot. We normally give it about, say, about an hour and a half. If nothing happens in that time, we'll move off to another spot.
Okay, hopefully we'll be getting in amongst them today. Weather looks good, and let's get down there and do it.
We finally arrived at the beach in overcast conditions at 10 AM in the morning. After catching our bait for the day's shark fishing, a burley trail was set up and staked out in the surf to attract sharks to our hook baits. After a long wait, Dave McIntyre was the first angler in our group to hook up, and he was finally into his first bronze whaler shark of the trip. We joined the action here 5 minutes into the fight after the shark had crossed over my line and then headed out towards the horizon at a rate of knots.
Day 3, Dave McIntyre has finally hooked into a bronzy. Got a slight problem with cross lines here. Hopefully it's not going to be too problematic. He's certainly into a fish. So he hooked it about 3 minutes ago. Early stages of the fight at the moment. These fish really do fight hard. It's quite common to play these fish for about an hour or so. So as I say, early stages of the fight. No idea how big it is as yet. As you can see, Terence is holding my rod because Dave's fish has crossed my line, so it could cause problems this, but hopefully the fish will be landed.
Not very big fish this.
Don't think it's very big, no? It's a bronzy though. We've had a hard day today. This is the only one we've hooked up today. It's late in the evening, I think it's 5:30. It's nice to see him finally hook one up though. There you go, Dave into his first bronzy. He says it's not very big. He's getting the first idea of how hard these fish do fight. They're phenomenal fighting fish, no doubt about it.
This one's got another terminal rig around it, so it's making it fight a bit strange, but
yeah. Okay, he's following his fish down the shoreline. He says it's not very big, but even the small ones fight very hard. It'll probably take him, if it's a 70-pound fish as he says, it'll probably take him 20 or 30 minutes to get in. Real tough customers, these fish.
you go out.
No! Up!
First one I've hooked.
Yeah. 20 minutes into the fight, I don't think this fish is beaten yet. There's the fish out in the surf. It's within the breakers, but this is often the most difficult time. You can see the line ripping off the spool there. These are real tough fish, real hard fighting fish. Okay, 25 minutes into the fight. Dave needs a drink of water. It is getting dark soon, so hopefully it's not going to take too much longer. Original estimate was a fish of about 70 pounds, but it's obviously much larger than that. He got it close to the edge to the edge of the surf about 10 minutes ago, but it's gone right back out again. These fish just don't know when to give up. There's Dave giving it the big one. About 30 minutes into the fight now. And there's the fish, near to the surf. It's not far from gapping range now. It's getting tired. Looks like a good one. Terence is just about to go for it now. was fish of about 140, maybe 150 pounds. Dave's first bronzy of the trip. Lovely fish. Sailing Dave, first bronzy.
I'd like to thank Terence for helping me to catch it. That's what I'd like to say. And what a fabulous fish.
Well, there's Dave wrestling with a bronzy of about 170 pounds.
How's that for a photo? How's that for a photo? Take a photo of that.
Dave's 85 kilo fish was the only bronze whaler shark caught that day, and by 6:30 p.m. we packed up and drove along the long desert road to Walvis Bay further south. The fishing had certainly been spectacular over the first 3 days, and I was sure that we had many more good days ahead of us over the remaining days to come, and the Skeleton Coast would eventually yield even more big sharks over the next 9 days. On day 3, we were back on the beach by 10 AM and searching for likely areas to catch bait for big bronze whaler sharks. After we had caught our bait for the day, we moved to another likely area of the beach to target big bronzes. Our guide prepared the tackle and rigs and bait for us, and the bait of choice for the day was chunks of sand shark mounted on 2 size 9/0 hooks. A burley trail was soon set up, and in no time at all the rods were cast out and we were ready for action. Once again, I was the first angler of the day to get a hookup, and immediately after setting the hook, a big powerful shark headed off towards the horizon, and the line on my multiplier reel slowly disappeared. The shark stripped off between 300 and 400 yards of line on its first run, and then, with lots of pulling and pressure on the rod and line, the big fish slowly came towards me, kiting from left to right in the process. After a 30-minute fight, I had the bronze whaler shark within gaffing range, and our guide eventually had the beaten fish beached and ready for photographs.
120, 130 pounds. Nice fish, isn't it? Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, looks good.
We continued fishing throughout the afternoon, and apart from a few mistakes, there was no further action to be had. Just before dark, at about 6 p.m, we drove back through the desert and made our way back to civilization in Walvis Bay, 30 miles further south, and another day's fishing had come to an end. In the evening, we enjoyed the finest South African red wine and a meal of fish, crayfish and oysters, all caught locally and expertly cooked by the hotel chef. And the following morning, we were back on the beach to find the bronze whaler sharks feeding in numbers, and the fishing action really started to kick in. Again, I was the first angler in our group to hook into a bronze whaler shark. The fish was a male shark of about 150 pounds, which put up a really spectacular fight. And after a 30-minute battle, I finally had the shark beached and ready to be unhooked and measured. I returned my 150-pound plus bronzie to fight another day, and a few minutes later Dave McIntyre and Andrew Gage both hooked into big sharks. We joined the action here at the beginning of the fight, as both Dave and Andrew Gage struggle with their hooked fish.
Let's all go here. I've just put back 150-pound male bronzie. Dave McIntyre's hooked into his second bronzie of the trip, and we've actually got a double hook up. If I pan over to the right, you'll see Andy is into a fish as well. So it's all happening here.